Danny Crazy was someone that was very kind to me, and I loved him, you know. And my comment wasn't meant to hurt him. It was just meant to highlight the issue of drunk driving, because most of our musicians are living that way, careless lives, you know. But anyway, the message was lost in translation.
Did you correct it?
No, because I felt that if there were calls for me to apologize, the reason I didn't do it was because I didn't want the message to be diluted. Kadas don't like their stuff to be publicized. They hate it, or to be recorded. The reason Kadas don't like to be, regardless of which political party they're from, whether they're PF, MMD, UPND, they don't like being recorded because most Kadas are criminals. And they don't want a digital record of what they have done. You know, I remember when Stephen Kampyongo put up street cameras by the corner, the traffic lights of City Market. City Market. Yes, those street cameras. PF Cadres went to Kampyongo and said, "If you chosen with my cameras, why mufuna kutikop?" Can you imagine the level of ignorance? You know, but that's what we deal with. You know. Yeah.
So how do you mentally deal with these issues? I know, you know, court cases, some of the things said and all of that. How do you navigate through this? The backlash of some of the things that you do?
Well, you just steam ahead, Kenny. At my age,
Isn't it costly?
Yeah.
On the legal side?
Yeah, oh yeah, it is. It's, oh yeah, from that angle, yes, yeah. That's,
heavy.
And that's not funny. Yeah, that's a very, very, that's a big weight there.
We saw, I don't know, I think it's over a year ago, we saw you being sent to prison.
Yeah, 6 days. I was in prison for 6 days. Let me explain what happened.
Tell us the story.
You see, in front of Simoson there, and I know you know this, is the buses. We used to have a problem with bus drivers. They would literally park right in front of our gate, you know, and it was always difficult to drive out. Okay, so this one particular day, this driver had just left his bus in front of the gate. Yeah, and they do that all the time. You know, well, they used to do it. And so I said to the guard, release the air from these tires so that the guy knows not to do this the next time. The following day, what happened was, I don't know if it was the conductor or the driver, one of them physically, literally punctured the tires, because those tires were bald. You know, they were flat tire. I mean, not flat. They were bald. How do you say bald, Mchibemba? Like worn out. They were worn out tires. Yes, So in their minds, they were thinking, no, if Mwewa using the valve, they get into ponche so that Ashtiaya knew.
So it wasn't your guys that
No. They did it. Why? Because in their minds, I will buy them new tires. Right.
Okay.
So when they came, I said, no, I'm not doing that. So the owner of the bus, he says, I'm going to take you to court. I said, fine. Now, Kenny, I didn't hire a lawyer because they wanted me to pay 6,000 kwacha for the tires. If I hire a lawyer, he's going to charge me 15,000 bucks.
What's the very minimum?
Yeah. What's the point? So I went there without a lawyer. Their testimony was conflicting. It wasn't making sense. So I figured, you know what? Let me not say anything, because, you know, they've already pretty much botched their case. That was the biggest mistake I made. Because when the judge found me guilty, when I went to Mwembeshi, that's the first thing one of the guys in Mwembeshi said to me. He says, no, you should have given your side of the story.
But why didn't you?
Because in my mind, they had already, their testimony was conflicting already.
Oh, so you thought it was
so I thought it was straightforward. Yeah.
Ah.
So the guy in Mwembeshi says to me, he says, no, you should have spoken. You should have said something. You should have countered their claim. Because by you keeping silent, the judge thought that you had something to hide. So he found you guilty based on that. So, Kenny, the lesson is, silence is not always golden. Chela and I, we're not on the same page. You know, Chela has a different set of values from myself. But what I learned watching him on your show was that there's a side of him that we don't often see on social media. There's a very painful part of his upbringing, you know, that I think when you hear him talk about it, it sort of helps you understand more of who he is. Not that that's an excuse, and it shouldn't be, but at least it pulled back the curtains a bit for me in terms of understanding, or at least trying to understand who he is.
So, Mr. Mwewa, let's speak about Chilewan and Tiana. I've seen that it's raised a bit of controversy and all of that. What is the story there on your side?
Well, I always tell young people that social media is a minefield. Minefield. Mine, not mind. Minefield. It's very explosive.
Yeah.
And when you start off in your interpersonal relationships on social media, you're setting yourself up for failure. You really are. And now, keep in mind, there are couples on social media that come as a package, and their content surrounds their daily life as a couple. Very few succeed at that. Okay, there's a science to that. But what I'm seeing in Zambia is young people thinking that putting everything out there is marriage. Kenny, you're married. Marriage, in and of itself, without social media, is a huge challenge. Add to that the microscope of social media. You are setting yourself up for total annihilation, because this is what happens. On social media, there's an underlining desire to see couples fail. Social media audiences, they want to see you fail. They want to see you crumble, because it gives them an opportunity to say, "Toi, mieux." So when I told him that this is for TikTok, he was just joking when he said, "No, you're too old for TikTok." The reason I know he was joking, Kenny, is because he himself is on TikTok and he has millions of followers. Okay? So when he said to me, "No, you're too old for TikTok," Zambians. Mwewa ya too old. Now Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey has more than, I don't know, what is it? Sue, what is it? 10 million, 15 million? Whoever it is, however many million people it was, So my response to Zambians, and I kept on having to do this, was to say, look, he was just joking. No, Zambians, no, adikwevere.
But others were saying it's not him that actually does the TikTok. Apparently it's his son or something, is it?
No. That's true, but the point is, even if he's not the one doing it, he's on TikTok. And I think Zambians were sort of thinking, "No, Mwewa, you should not do kopa." Why not? I do it that way. That's how I do it. Why not? No, without kopa. Someone. No, that's my style. I love doing that. And I think some Zambians were trying to bully me out of TikTok or Facebook. And Ken, anytime people try to bully you out of content creation, that's when you know you're doing the right thing.
You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask about this. There's this thing about inheritance, and with many painting it like a bad thing. How do you personally feel about that?
Well, first of all, Kenny,
because I have also seen, parents who've built businesses for their children,
yes.
and some of them fail to actually run those businesses.
Yeah.
So, how do you deal with those things?
Well, the truth is, Ken, first of all, I never bring up anything to do with inheritance. You will never find any piece of content where I switch on the camera and I say, "Guys, we are enjoying this inheritance." We don't do that. None of my brothers and sisters, none of us do that. What we do is we work and I create content. It is the audience that brings that up, because in their minds, somehow they have this misguided notion that inheritance, they look at me like I don't deserve what I have, and the comment I read oftentimes is, "Iwe ngatabakushire simosoni, iwe ngawalife street kid." Oh, I hear that all the time. I hear it all the time. And it really upsets me, because even street people, street vendors, when I say to street vendors, "Don't block the road," their number one response, "No, we're not talking about that. I'm asking you to clear the road." You are talking to us bantu bakushira chidya.
Ati wena okwatte chobe no mata unafuta ufuatulie kwa pa.